Hello, everybody. Welcome to 3 Point Perspective, the podcast about illustration, how to do it, how to make a living at it, and how to make an impact in the world with your art. I'm Jake Parker.
I'm Lee White.
And today we have a special treat. We're interviewing Victor Irizarry, who is a personal friend of mine, but also one of these guys who is kind of living a double artistic life. He, by day, is a architect for a big architecture firm in Phoenix, and by night he is a comic artist. He dons a cape and a mask and he draws comics. Anyways, this is a good interview. We just finished with them. And what was a couple of your takeaways, Lee, talking to Victor?
He's somebody who definitely knows what he wants to do, and he seems structured. He's got the perfect balance of being structured and being open to changing and new stuff too.
Yeah.
So he's one of those, I think, rare people who has thought about all of it a lot, the content, how he's going to organize his day, how he's going to, the next thing he's going to make, and then he goes towards it. So that was my sort of takeaway on it. Just a guy who's got it figured out.
Yeah. Yeah. That's mine too. And that he's not letting, there's just like this, I don't know, childlike curiosity with creativity that I see with this guy that, has not faded since he was a kid. And he gets into his backstory. He's got a crazy backstory and what's kind of brought him here. Real kind of a rags to riches kind of thing, like coming from nowhere to becoming someplace and becoming somebody, which is cool.
He seems happy. That's the other thing. I mean, that's a simple thing to say, but I don't meet a ton of people that seem happy, truly happy.
Yeah, no, he is. I never, like, we've hung out and we talk on the phone a lot, and I never walk away. I always walk away from Victor just being like high on life, like, this is good,
Yeah, he seems optimistic, and his energy is sort of infectious. Probably a really good teacher.
Yeah, for sure. All right, let's jump into it. Victor, the reason we wanted to have you on the show is oftentimes when we interview creators and artists, we're talking to people who are like decades into their career, right? Mm-hmm. Into their illustration career. And you and I, we go way back. We met 10 years ago, probably, and then really became friends like 6 or 7 years ago. Yeah. What's drawn me to you, and I'm going to let you talk, but this is kind of like an intro to you. What's drawn me to you is you're like this guy that is so creatively explorative. Is that a way to put it? Like, sure. Always looking for ways to push your creativity, but you also are not just like a person who's satisfied with creativity for creativity's sake. You're actually like putting out products, you're finishing things, you're putting things in the world, specifically comics. Mm-hmm. And so I wanted to share you because you're this perfect example. Victor's a full-time architect, mm-hmm. part-time pro amateur comic artist. Is that a fair description?
No, that's fair.
Okay.
And even if I become a pro, I'm still going to be an amateur, no matter what.
That's a good mindset. It's good because we're all learning. So I think there's a lot of people who listen to this podcast who are sort of in the same shoes. They have a full-time job, mm-hmm. and it might be a quasi-creative space type of job. Architecture is very much, I would say it's the job artists take who are like unsure that they're going to have success in an illustration career, but they know there's going to be at least a paying gig at the end of the day in architecture, right?
Yeah.
And so I just want to have you on here, talk about how you're doing it, how you're finding success, a little bit about your history and your path. Mm-hmm. And I think let's kick it off with what's your most recent project that you've created and how you made that thing.
Okay. So the most recent project that I created was called Amadeus. Amadeus, it's a comic book that it's a graphic novel that basically combines architecture and storytelling comic book style. I mean, I can show you. I have the book right here in front of me. It's
Yeah.
this guy right here, and then that's the back cover.
So cool.
And
Such
And
a good
so
that's your
design.
shirt too. Is
it's
that
my shirt as well. And I
yeah.
just had a gallery show. Lee, you would appreciate this because you know, I guess this whole thing about getting into something without knowing what you're getting into,
My whole life.
you know, like curiosity. I call it curiosity. Really, it's this idea of like, okay, jumping into it and just do it, right? So
Yeah.
this book particularly was done with a gallery exhibition in mind.
Okay.
So I mean, I can show you an interior shot right here. Basically, it's the most close to architectural illustration that I have done in comic books regarding how the storytelling goes. It's very out there with the topics in terms of what is design and what does it mean to be a designer, you know, from ego to fear to just, you know, the realization that, you know, how to embrace imperfection in the process. Um, so that one, just to give you the pitch, and then I go back to the the exhibition. So the pitch of this one, it's one day I went to an exhibition by architects, and then I got inspired. I came home, and I'm like, oh, what if I did a series of drawings and there was an exhibition at some point, you know? So I kind of visualized this thing, um, and then the idea was every year. This is the pitch for the book. Every year, an architect gets selected to go on a journey to find the perfect house. It's called the House of Medusa, the perfect design. But
Mhm.
but none of them come back.
Mm.
So this is the journey of Elias, the architect that made it back, and what
Mhm.
happened, right? So this
Mhm.
idea of embracing his story, and in a way, it's also my personal story. A little bit of things that happened to me in life, and I can talk about that later. But then fast forward to the exhibition, we ended up doing a series of prints that were inspired by the cover
Mhm.
that is very Bauhaus inspired in
Yeah.
itself.
It feels like it.
Yes, and then I did a sculpture that was like 7 feet wide by 3.5 feet tall, and the sculpture.
Dude.
Did I show you pictures of this?
I never because when we talked last, it was
Yes.
being built still. Like
Yes, yeah. So shout out to PHX 3D, a friend of mine, Mihir, who's an architect as well. He he has a side gig that he's doing 3D prints. So
Mhm.
it's three-dimensional, what do they call it? Digital fabrication,
Yeah.
right? That's the and he's trying to push himself. And I say, hey, let's collaborate on this. And we did this thing. I designed it, I built it in SketchUp, and then we worked together on assembling the piece. And that thing took a whole week, 24/7, to be fabricated. It was, and at the end, it was just beautiful. It turned
Mhm.
out beautiful. It reminded me when I was back in school, just hitting deadlines and just working until midnight. But I tell you what, I'm not built like that anymore. There was a moment I remember we were working on it. I need to sit down. I'm just, my knees are hurting. We were operating. I was operating on like a few hours of sleep the
Yeah.
days before the deadline. But ultimately, it was a beautiful exhibition. Lots of friends and family. About 150 people showed up.
No way.
Yeah, it was during Desert Design Week, which is a it's a group that's putting together a series of designer or design events throughout a
Mhm.
week here in Phoenix, very curated. And then
Mhm.
my friend who owns a high-end mid-century modern furniture store, he invited me to show my work in his gallery, and that alone was like imposter syndrome, like to the max, because I've done paintings before, I've done portraits, I've done like fine art before, but not to this level, right? So I
Mhm.
mean, not to the level where I'm actually showing it in a gallery to people. I've done it for myself, etc. But
Yeah.
it was beautiful. It was beautiful.
And I mean, this mid-century modern furniture store, like this is for customers who on on the low end are dropping 10 grand on a piece of
Absolutely.
furniture.
Yeah,
You know?
yep. It is definitely. But we're talking like real quality furniture.
Yeah.
It's called Red Modern Furniture here in Phoenix, and the
So
owner
they're
Jonathan is a good friend.
discerning and they have an eye for
Yeah.
quality
Yep.
and artistry
Yep.
so 150 people showed up. By the way, Tim, we have a mutual friend, Tim
Yeah.
Boyle, who's another architect,
He was
and
there. Yeah.
yeah, he sent me photos from it.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which was cool. You look good. You look
Thank
good.
you. Thank you. Yes.
So, how did the pieces sell? Were you able to
Yes.
sell the sculpture?
The sculpture, there was a potential buyer for it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pieces, they're all sold. So I'm doing a limited series of 150 prints
Mm-hmm.
per print. And the cool thing about it was that I used the mid-century modern, inspired color like a palette. So each print, it was basically the same geometry but different colors.
Yeah.
And
Cool.
just trying to work smart, not
Yeah.
hard in terms of like, hey, you have a product, and you guys talked about this all the time, like you have a product, you have a drawing, an illustration, what can you do with it, right? You can do t-shirts, you can do totes, you can do all kinds of things. In this case was prints, and they were stunning. I was blown away by the saturation on the colors, like how it came out, the quality of the print, the framing. And kudos to Jonathan, the owner, who was basically my curator. I think we all need a curator in life because sometimes the edit button, it's like something that we need to use a lot.
Yeah.
And we don't, I'm like, oh yeah, what if we do this and that? So, in the book, I have a page that shows the process. Because that's something else I wanted to do with this graphic novel, was to show the process at the end. So here you can kind of see like the Bauhaus
Oh, that's
inspiration.
beautiful.
Yeah, sorry, I don't know if you can see it, but yeah, the sketches and whatnot. And then, so with this one, what I did is I ended up doing the graphic novel in the front, which I'd done already, and then I had all the original drawings. And I am a huge fan of original, artist edition books, like high quality prints of the drawings. So it's like, oh, what if I just add that to the book? And then next thing you know, you have 50 pages. And then an amazing printer in town that helped me with putting it out, under a deadline. So everything worked out really nicely.
So you're sitting at home. You just went to this. I'm just dialing it back to the genesis of this particular project. You're thinking about this gallery, the show that you went to. You're dealing with the architect every day, and like, what got you wanting to, I guess, subject yourself to all of this extra work to put out a comic, put together an art gallery show, get a sculpture made, make T-shirts.
Yeah.
Try to get 150 people to show up.
Yeah.
Work with this guy, this friend of yours who's running a shop. Like, what was that initial like spark that made you be like, nope, I got to do this?
And that's a great question. I don't know if it is in me, a little bit about myself. So just kind of just give you a long story, right? So
yeah, this is good. I want to know.
Born and raised in Puerto Rico in a small town. My mom is a nurse. She had 5 kids. She was a single mom raising 5 kids. Okay. My mom was a warrior. I mean, it's a warrior, right? She kind of seeing that for us was no joke. I mean, like, it was perseverance and really pushing yourself with something that was just never spoke about out loud, but just by example. Add to that the neighborhood that we grew up was public housing. So the projects, I mean, there was a lot of criminality and a lot of things that happened. So I'm the youngest. Sadly, I lost 2 of my brothers upbringing. So just being exposed to life really early in my life, like to the challenges that life throws at you, really young age, kind of gave me a perspective of you just gotta fight. I mean, it was more about grit rather than
Mm-hmm.
passion, because you could be passionate about something and then you get punched in the face and you forget what you were passionate about. But but if you had grit, you just get up and keep fighting, right? So for me, think about it, right? So I went from being the youngest, the first one to made it to a, you know, college degree, if you may, and then the first one to move to the States, mainland, um, was a lot of like that grit. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever I guess I'm like, you give me a challenge and I'm gonna find a way to make it happen.
Right.
Um, it's just embedded in me. So fast forward to that. Oh, I mean, we can talk about so much, right? Because I moved to Arizona. I had no idea where I was coming. Um, no idea, no idea. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember showing up and I'm like, what is this heat? Like
Yeah.
it's so hot.
Well, that begs the question: why that particular area? Why not San Diego or any other city?
So yeah, so basically what it was the two of my friends. We were working in Puerto Rico, and we were like, hey, what universities do we want? Because the program that I went to was, and I'm not gonna forget the answer to answer your question, but it was 4 years of bachelor and then 2 years of master. So I did my bachelor's in Puerto Rico, and we had to go to do our masters. You can stay in Puerto Rico and do your masters, or I could go anywhere else. So my buddies and I were like, hey, what if we go somewhere together? So we chose about 3 universities, mostly because we knew people, Puerto Ricans that were already there.
Mm.
Mhm.
So that was it. I mean, and then when I looked into ASU at the time, there was a architect that I really, really admired who since has passed, but I wanted to learn from him. That it was a program that would take you out to Germany. And then the year that I moved here, he died, so they canceled the program. But I ended up um, learning, studying under people that study under our architect. So indirectly, I was still learning um, to see the world from that point of view, and that's how I met Tim Boyle, and we were in the studio together doing our masters. And so that's why, I mean, honestly, Lee, to answer your question, I was just like, let's just go. I mean, I remember showing my mom, like, oh, she's like, are you going so far? I'm like, not really. And then I looked at the map and I was like, oh yeah, it is far. So yeah, it was
But
just,
doesn't, I mean, Arizona does have one of the better architect programs, right? ASU
um,
does, right?
I gotta be careful how I answer that question.
Oh, okay. Let me put it this way: there's a history of architecture to
Yes,
Arizona,
yes,
like avant-garde architecture, I guess, that
yes,
you don't see in other
yeah,
universities or states.
yeah. No, I was joking about that, but it is a great school. Um, it's gone through some changes since I was a student. I mean, and I actually teach. I teach part time at ASU. I've been teaching for 20 years at architecture studio, and I also teach a sketching class called Looking, Thinking, Sketching. And that was another one of those where I remember being teaching studio and asking the students, "Do you know how to sketch?" And they're like, "No, I never done that." And I'm like, okay, well, let me start a sketching class, but with the premise of like critical thinking and
Hmm.
using drawing as a thinking tool rather than an illustration tool, right? So it's like what happens before you start drawing.
Yeah.
So a lot of like meditation and a lot of self awareness, and I mean, I had students cry. I mean, and actually, you came to my class
Hmm.
to give a lecture. So that class in particular was reformative for me because it also it was a I was it's self exploring. I was just exploring ideas that I always wanted to talk about, but the class became that excuse and opportunity. Um, so yeah, so then the school itself, I mean, in general, Arizona has some of the greatest architectures I've seen, um, honestly, in the nation, because it is very unique. It's very,
Hmm.
it's very what's the word I'm thinking? It's very specific to this area. The
Hmm.
materials, you can explore materials, you can explore with glass, even light and shadow. I mean, there's so much textures. There's so much. I learned that the desert has a lot of colors. At
Mm-hmm.
first, I was like, "Where are the colors?" And next
Mm-hmm.
thing you know, you go out there and hiking, and you start seeing everything blooming, and it's just beautiful. Um, so going back to uh, why I get into this in my head, I guess I've always been like challenge motivated. So it's like, okay, I want to do. I'm just gonna go with it, and I'm gonna have this attitude of uh, being a student of life, just kind of
Mm-hmm.
have like, let's just go with it and learn as I go, which requires a lot of discipline, um, and self-awareness too, like be careful not to push yourself too far. But then fast forward to meeting you, and then you're introducing the concept of finish not perfect. That's when I was like, oh, I need to learn more about this because it's in line with how I think.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, I have 10 comic books finished. Not perfect, but but yeah. And then I should add that in between this time that I was just describing, moving here, we moved to the country, to Turkey, to Izmir.
Mm-hmm.
And that was another one where I was like, I had no idea where I was going. I had a connection through a friend, and it became one of the most amazing experiences I ever had. I brought my family, my wife, and my kids, and we lived in Turkey, in Izmir, for a year, and I was teaching architecture there.
Wow.
And I met a. That's honestly, I think that's what kicked me off on the comic, like really getting serious about self-publishing, because I met an architect there that was illustrating comics. I think he was doing covers for Marvel or DC. I don't remember right now, but he was teaching a class on comic books and visual storytelling. And I'm like, wait, tell me more about this. So I signed up for his class, just to sit.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just bringing drawings, and he's like, "Hey, chill, man. This is not America. This is Turkey. We take it easy." And I was like, "Well, I got
Like,
so much."
you don't have that grind mentality going on
Yeah,
there.
no, I was just going. And he's like, "No, no, chill, chill." So we moved back to the States, and I immediately started just learning more about self-publishing. And then I read a book by Jason Brubaker. It was
Mm-hmm.
called The Unnatural Talent.
Mm. I've
And I
heard that one.
remember just being in awe with it and writing an email to Jason, and then became acquaintance with him on just the topic of just like how to get better at drawing, how to self-publish. And this is when he was, I mean, do you remember when he was starting? He was just
Yeah.
doing Kickstarters that were
I mean,
amazing.
have you heard of Jason Brubaker, Lee?
No.
He's like he's a former DreamWorks artist, art department guy who like leaned in heavy on self-publishing, was quite successful at it. He's kind of dialed it back a little bit lately. I mean, he's still doing stuff, but there was a time there, I would say 2010 to 2015, where like he was really unstoppable with the amount of work he was producing and the Kickstarters he was launching, and the just all the publishing, self-publishing stuff he was doing, which was it was really cool and it was inspiring. It inspired me. It was like, oh, I got to get on this Kickstarter thing, try that out, and um, so yeah, that's Jason. He what were his books? Cithra was one of them.
Cithra, yeah, Cithra, and then there was another one. Yeah, I probably have it back there, but I
Yeah.
cannot remember the other one. And but I don't know. It was this idea of seeing somebody that has a dream, that has, wants to do something, and learning that there are channels for it, right? Like
Hmm.
this, because sometimes we think we have to go the traditional path in order to succeed, and that's great. But there's so many gatekeepers that will, again, going back to the whole thing about passion, like they will punch you hard, and you be like, okay, well, I don't know if I can make this, right? So you start self-doubting, and it's so, just for me, it was like, wait, hold on, I can do this. What do I need to do? So I started learning about, what it meant to be a self-publisher, and made
Hmm.
a lot of mistakes. and then just say, okay, let's keep going. Wanting to share more of my work.
I think one of the key things, because how many comics have you self-published now?
I was just looking through that. I have 10.
10.
Wow.
Yeah.
And these
Yeah.
are all like single issues, essentially.
Yeah. So I got Saguaro Joe. I got Red Part 1 and Part 2. I don't know. And then I did covers for it.
Yeah.
The Road to the Right. I don't know how many counting.
I remember that one.
2, 3, 4, 5. Flying Somnia. It was 1 and 2. This is the original Flying Somnia. Then the original Red, which was Inktober drawings, 2018. Ikitsu.
That's right.
And then Jolly Roger Road.
Yeah, Jolly Roger Road.
And then Amadeus.
Yeah, dude.
That's fun. I tell you, I really love your sense of design in all these. They look all different, but they look consistently designed well. So they hold up as a group, and individually on their own too.
Yeah, and it's crazy because you can kind of see how my style has matured, like as it goes. And Jake, you can speak of this. So you're like my mentor in many ways. It literally, this. I mean, I can show you like the original. This is my first published, and it was like I rendered with markers, and it was really bad. And I redrew this thing, using digital techniques with the iPad and Procreate and whatnot. And so just like the use of shape and form, and to your point, Lee, design. That's something that I think I learned in school, because I think that's the bridge to me between architecture design or design in general and illustration. It's just, we all learn the basics, right? The ABCs of drawing. It's like composition. To me, it doesn't matter. Like the best example, it's Mike Mignola. We always talk about it in the comic book world. He's like, I'm a huge fan, and it's mostly because of the compositions. Like the guy has it down. It's his almost graphic design, like fine art approach to design the pages. That it doesn't matter what you do. I mean, the anatomy could be all like clunky and whatnot. But the drawing is just beautiful. You cannot stop looking at it. So that's another thing. I also stopped looking at the final product on printed media or even like online, where it's like, oh, this polished, really cool drawings done by, I don't know, Todd McFarlane or whatever, like these big names. And I said, I want to see what's the process, like how do they get there? So I started looking more into the artist editions of books. And then I'm like, oh, they go through the same fears that we do, like or the same challenges in terms of
same steps too.
Same steps.
To the finish, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you look at Ashley Wood?
Yes, I actually did a cover for an Ashley Wood comic book.
Oh wow, because I could see some kind of kinship in your work and and
this one
work.
right here. It's Zombies versus Robots. So that's my cover design right there.
Gorgeous.
And it's almost an homage to Hellboy too, with the corpse. And then I met the writer as well. It was pretty cool. But yeah, Ashley Wood's style, like that sketchy feel to it. Or even
let the process show a little bit. I mean, it's such a cool thing when you I can see, your mentors, but I think you're adding to it in a unique way. Like Mike Mignola and Ashley Wood, and then you're putting your own spin on that stuff for sure. But I agree with you. The longer that I go, the more I've come to the conclusion that design solves almost all the problems first. And then you don't have, and then it's not about the example I was using the other day on a lecture was like, if in the past if I had to draw an illustration of a pirate ship coming into a bay, I would start thinking about, oh, what does a pirate ship look like? And how do I draw a pirate ship and all the stuff that's going to be on it and stuff. And now I think about just what composition would work best for like a big triangle shape and start there. And then the last thing I worry about is what a pirate ship looks like. The design is first now. Is that how you're thinking about this stuff too?
100%. Yes. I mean, like to me, it's like the most basic composition stuff. It's the 9 or the grid. the 9 squares. What do you call it?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
I
the
don't know what
grid.
else. Oh,
I
yeah.
call it the
Yeah,
grid, but it's specifically 9 squares. Like it's like, you know, you divide the page into 9 squares, and it's where your eye will. And I think I have studied Magnola uh, to the imps. I mean, I have pretty much almost every book that he has put out, and I honestly think there is something about, at least in the on our side of the world, that going from the top right to the left on the picture, to the bottom left, and then just finding your way down, so it's not symmetrical. It's just
like a
usually kind of up,
zigzag kind
the
of.
zigzag. But just taking that into, say, one picture, right? Like you wanted to keep, if you make it two, like this picture that I did of Amadeus, it's symmetrical, but not, it's more balanced than symmetrical, right?
Got
Like
it.
it's, you know what I'm saying? So you
Right,
kind
right.
of, the idea is that your eye can just meanders through
Right.
the image rather than just go boom, that's it. So I started becoming very much aware of that, and every page, the more I kept doing it, the more I'm like, wait, hold on, this, I can do whatever I want with this. Like this is like, it's literally
Yeah.
clay, right?
It's like
So
drawing cheat code.
yes,
It's true. It's
yes,
totally true.
yeah. I mean, if you study like the classics, like the, you know, just to name any artist out there, but like you look at the classical art, they use the golden section, like you use
Mhm.
the typical composition, you know, or the basic composition techniques to, you know, put the art together. um, and the same thing when you're putting a building together, we use a grid, right? So mostly to say, you know, not necessarily for the shape, but also just to tell the contractors, okay, look at detail on grid A, B, or whatever, or A2, or section da 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 da. So there's something about that base structure that puts the whole thing together visually.
One other thing that you did too on many of these comics is like you were always, you still do, just sending me work in progress,
Yeah.
and you're never afraid to ask, like, hey, can you just help me out with this? Can you can you
It's
you know?
embarrassing.
And I'm like, Victor, I'm busy. No, you know, I mean, you've seen when I can help you out, I help you out, and when I can't,
Yeah,
I don't have
of
time
course.
to, right?
Yeah.
But I think that's like another key thing is that uh, so often I get into this mindset where I've got to like shoulder all the burden
Mm-hmm.
of the creation, and not like spread it out with my friends and get their feedback on it. One, it might be a thing of pride where I don't
Mm-hmm.
want to hear that it's bad on some level.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
two, I'm so rushed with it that I just want to like get through it and not have to do rounds of
Yeah.
revisions.
Yeah.
But I think one of the keys to your success is just that willingness to get the feedback, to get as many eyeballs on it as I can't be the only person you're sending this stuff to.
No, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. And I need, that goes back to my upbringing, you know, like
Mhm.
being the youngest at my house, but also, and I never thought of that until now. um, but also in school. I mean, when you go through the architectural school regime, or just um, not regime, that sounds bad. I the architectural school just for formation. It basically it teaches you, because what a lot of what we do, and you do this too in your classes, it's like we present to our colleagues, or our mentors or our teachers, like we literally just pitch the idea, put it on the wall, pin up, and then you get bombarded with critique, right? Constructive criticism. But back in my day, it was harsh criticism, to the point that they'll even ask you, why are you even doing this, right? And it was bad, and that's changed. I mean, like it's, I mean, have you seen that movie Whiplash, I think it's called, the one with
Mhm. The
it
drummer.
was yeah, it was like that. um and I guess that goes back to that grit. I remember I'd seen a lot of people just quitting, um and
I
they're
don't
like, I
I
can't.
know it's going to sound bad. I know people will get mad at me in the comments, but I don't mind that kind of education.
I know,
Like
and it's because it teaches you to be just, I don't know, stronger. That's
Here's
life.
the thing.
I mean,
Like,
I think there's a certain amount of passion that, not that everybody who teaches like that, like one person that comes to mind, we were talking about him yesterday in the office hours that we were doing on within our community. Somebody was talking about Bern Hogarth. Well, Bern Hogarth taught at my school. Before I didn't have him, he was gone before I got there. But the rumors of that guy were legendary. He was a master draftsman and craftsman, and he accepted nothing less than the absolute best you could do. And so he was one of those people that would go through. He'd rip down the work. Yep. People would leave crying. He just, I mean, like it was like a thing, but you knew what the standard was.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And I want to say, like, if a harsh teacher, and I don't mean hard, an honest teacher, because a harsh teacher is a bad thing, but even so, if they can get in your head in a way that makes you want to quit this career path of being an illustrator, you're not going to make it.
It's true. It's true. Whenever I encountered those kind of teachers, I always remember thinking, I just really want their approval, because you know it's real. But when the time that they say, "Oh, this is good," it's not just lip service.
Exactly. Yeah. And I mean, I must say, to be honest, I was in my early teaching days, I was like that, because that was kind of all I knew, right? Like the tough love feedback. And then, and then it was so funny because in studio, I was asking them to, to really push themselves. And then in the sketching class, I was like, oh, just go with the flow, feel, feel your emotions. So it was completely off, like, it was just
like, who is this guy?
Who is this guy?
He's encouraging me. What is this?
And I remember I had a student who was like, well, you're so nice in this class. And I was like, whoa. And then I later on, fast forward many years, I became aware that, like, hey, I think it was my wife who introduced me to this Oreo concept. Like, it was a feedback of like good, bad, good, like in layers.
The sandwich.
Right, in the sandwich. Yeah. So it's like, oh, okay. Philosophy. So I've been learning to do that. I'm still gonna be very honest when I do give my feedback. But I try to keep it a constructive criticism. And lately, when I'm invited to do critiques or critiques at school, I'm always give the disclaimer. It's like, hey, this is not about you. It's about your work, right? Because your work will speak for you in many different ways. And that's what we respond to. Like, we respond to what it's out there. So yeah, and I know how it goes. We are the worst. I'm like the worst at criticizing myself. And that's why I always like to get somebody else's opinion. And then you were talking earlier, Jake, about asking people. So going back to that formation of, getting criticism, then I became aware of just like, it's okay to be vulnerable. One of the things that we in this country have noticed that we think being vulnerable is being weak, and it's not true. I mean, there's so much you can do. Just just be yourself, open up to receive criticism, but you have to keep an open mind, because ultimately you may not agree with what they're saying, but they're seeing something that you're not seeing, and they're responding to that.
Right.
Now, so the question is, okay, how much of that feedback do I incorporate? And I think that's where the critical thinking comes into place, because now you're like, okay, Jake told me, I remember it was the fire. I drew this fire, and Jake is like, I loved everything, but that fire has to go. Like, you had to change it. It feels like a sticker, right? And it was so true. I didn't think about it at the moment, and I was like, oh crap. So I went back and I just started drawing fire for like a week. And okay, so this is it. And if he doesn't like it, well, here we go.
It's still not perfect, but it's better than it was.
But you know what? It's interesting, because I was thinking about this earlier today when I was like obsessed with a perspective. And in comic books or in graphic novels, that page, I mean, the person is going to spend 90% of the time looking at the words, right? And then 10% to the drawing.
Yeah.
But my approach is completely opposite. I want them to look at the drawings. So for me, it was critical to get that feedback, but also thinking, oh, this is just a moment in life, right? It's probably a
Mhm.
couple of seconds, but it matters. I don't know. Every little detail sometimes could get really annoying because it matters so much to the story.
I want to ask you, let's, we've been doing head in the cloud stuff for the last 30 minutes. I want to do some feet on the ground stuff. How do you, like, what's your daily schedule? How do you have time for a day job, a family,
Mm.
and doing 9, 10 comic books over the last 5 years or something like that?
Yeah, I also do improv, by the way.
That's right.
So
You do improv too.
Wait, are you serious?
yes,
Yeah.
Oh
You wouldn't
my
know it
gosh.
because you're not that funny, but
yeah.
I'm just kidding.
I've been doing long form improv for the past 8 years.
Wow, that's impressive. That is absolutely terrifying to me.
Yeah,
And I'm an
it's
extrovert. I don't mind being in front of a crowd, but that seems next level.
no, I think you will like it actually. If anything, what it did is help me to feel more confident with myself in terms of I did it for many reasons, and one of them, English being my second language, always kind of make me nervous to talk to people, especially over the phone. And if some people would like joke, say things to me, I just did not know how to respond because I would just get in my head. When I was a kid, I was bullied, and not that unrelated, but like that fear of fighting back, right? So that improv helped me just be quick on my feet and be okay with who I am.
Mhm.
And if ultimately I'm speaking the second language to for you guys to feel comfortable, right? So you can, it's so not you, but I'm talking in general. It's like
Yeah, yeah.
so it's like, hey, I'm doing this. It's as an effort to communicate and be here and make this whole conversation flow. So I
Don't
learned to
get
be okay
so
with that.
good at English that you lose your accent, because that's
Oh,
like it's such an iconic accent. I love it.
oh God, yeah. Now it's I hate listening to myself. But anyways, back to schedule, and I'll introduce the improv concept there. The yes and what can I say? So I don't know, man. Like it's just well, first of all, you having the backbone of structure of people around you that help you kind of remember what's important, right? And
Mhm.
remember to take care of yourself. My wife, my friends, my family in general. Um, it's been critical to that organization. But in general, I'm not organized at all. I have a plan.
Mm,
I have
okay.
a vision, right? So without my calendar, I cannot function. Like, okay, what's next? Da, 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 because I'm gonna forget. Um, but I'm always open to improvisation throughout a day. In other words, like say, um, Jake, we're going to have lunch, but all of a sudden there is an exhibition happening next door that we didn't plan for. I'll be like, ooh, let's check that out,
Mhm.
right? So I'm opening that while other people be more. Well, Jake would be like, no, I had to go because I had to do this other thing.
Right.
I'm kidding, but you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
it's I'm kind of always, and that's how we travel. When we travel, we have set plans, but we like to kind of meander and discover the city. Just, oh, what if we take a different route? Or, what are we gonna see? Right? It's
Your
safe,
your
but
schedule leaves room for exploration, or for
100%.
just like
Yes.
accidents, right?
Yes.
Like
Yep.
happy accidents.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. So to be honest with you, let me go back a little bit about for a long time, I was always pushing myself almost too hard. And
Mhm.
when I was younger, I could deal with pressure better than I do now. But in terms of the amount of things that I had to do in a day, and so 2017, that's when Hurricane Maria happened in Puerto Rico, and I did not hear from my family for about a week or more. It
Oh,
was horrible. The island
Yeah.
was destroyed. It was
Yeah.
horrible. But for those of us living in the States or away, it was mostly not physical, it was emotional.
Mhm.
So add to that year, a good friend of mine passed, died tragically. I got in a car accident, and then life just work was really busy. And the actual definition of burned out happened to me. Like I was legit on my bed looking at the ceiling, be like, I am not happy, which
Yeah.
is completely if you know me personally, you know I'm always optimistic. I'm gonna be
Yeah.
always happy and find a way to turn
It,
something into something
it's
positive.
really hard to put out your fire. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
Was that hard for you to accept, like, oh, something is going on, this is not normal?
Nope. Yep.
um
Yep. That was
it's weird when you have a perception of yourself and all of a sudden you can feel it slipping a bit.
Yep. Yep. Oh, it was scary. Like I'm like, this is not new. This is not normal for me. And then I became aware of the concept of kintsugi, with the whole broken. I think I'm saying it is a kintsugi. It's
yeah.
the Japanese concept of the broken pottery that gets back together, with gold.
Oh
And
yeah,
just
and they sort of embrace the imperfection and make it
yes,
into a
yeah,
feature. Yeah.
yeah. So that was 2017 and 18, but like the awareness of that became later during COVID. But so I ended up making some hard choices at the time. I was like, okay, I need to change things. I need a drastic change. So I quit my old job. I ended up in a new place, but with setting personal boundaries where I'm like, okay, I need to kind of make sure that if I want to pursue these dreams, I need to make sure that when I'm stopping something, I'm stopping that, right? Because
Mhm.
I have ADD in undiagnosed, but I feel like I truly do. Like I get
Mhm.
distracted really easily.
Mhm.
And so I was like, okay, I'm forcing myself to stop here. If I'm, finding ways to always drawing, it's been a constant to me. So I'm always drawing. So if I'm always drawing, why not do something with it? Um,
Right.
uh, so back to I quit my job. I started a new that's when I started improv. My wife gave it to me as a Christmas gift, and then I signed up for it. And
Mhm.
it was a religious experience because it introduced me to like a whole different. I mean, there's like I'm talking lawyers, surgeons. I mean, all professionals doing it as well, and we were all like just having fun. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh my god, this is great. So the concept of yes and became my way of just doing things.
Did you
Um,
find doing improv, because you have to be so quick on your toes? Could you actually feel like your brain
yes,
getting exhausted from doing it and like getting
yes,
stronger?
yes. Oh yeah, it is a workout. It's the same with drawing. Like drawing, it got to the point. So 2000, I'll say 2017, 2018, I did Inktober for the first time the whole month. So as I'm exercising my brain, I'm also learning to like that muscle memory of creating a habit of drawing. So I was drawing every day. And like as my brain's getting like, expanded and contracted with improv, I'm
Yeah.
also expanding and contracting with drawing every day. And then up till today, I literally draw every day, even when I'm just multitasking. Always find the time to
That's
draw.
so good. That's so important.
Hey,
Yes.
real quick, just for people who aren't familiar with it, and I'm not too familiar with it, what is the concept of yes and?
Okay. So yes, and it's basically, I'm just going to make it as simple as possible. If we are having a conversation and I ask you, do you like my octopus outfit? And you say no, then that is the end of the conversation, right? There's nothing I can build from
Done.
there.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It,
So
which is what you don't want to have in an improv act, a skit.
or in general, in a
Yeah.
conversation, like if I
Yeah.
tell you that, it's like, hey, hon, how was your day? Well, I don't care. Like, or like, do you like my meal, my food? No, that's it. So, but if you say yes, and have you thought about maybe adding salt to the rice or whatever, or like, yes, I like your octopus outfit, but I feel like it makes you look like an alien, or makes you like, so you basically, what you're doing is accepting the gift and then turning it into something else.
But
And
there's clever ways. I mean, you don't have to use the word yes and, but
no,
it's a concept. So
yes,
you might say, do you like my octopus costume? You might say, I loved it when you wore it to the court hearing the other day. You know,
And
yes,
yeah, it just
and
so it just
then
invites
that's like
more.
that's
It
an
invites
and that
more instead of
you can
shutting
work
it
with.
down.
Exactly. So,
Gotcha.
so you can apply that to many things. I mean, I applied it. In real time, I did had a pitch to a big client in town, and we usually rehearse our pitch when we presenting ideas to clients. But the client asked me a question that was completely off script. Like we did not know what this, obviously it's the audience, right? So we don't know how they're going to react. So they asked me a question, and then it was directed to me. Victor, what do you think about this, and that? And I'm like, yes, and well, in my head, but I was like,
Yeah,
well, yes, let me tell you about it. And then you're like pulling like pulling out of places to like, okay, how do I answer this, sound smart, and make sure that he likes the product. So I mean, we do that all the time. If you become aware of it and exercise it, then you're like, oh yeah, I mean, this is great. I can definitely make this happen. Same thing with drawing. The concept of, I mean, actually this book Amadeus was an improvised book, the whole
hmm
thing. It's like Inktober. Inktober is exactly the same thing. You get a prompt, and that's how we do our shows. When we do improv shows, you get a prompt. Say, I would like to ask the audience for a word,
hmm
and the word is spider. So we do an entire 20-minute show on that, inspired by that word. And at this time, you're being vulnerable because you learn to depend on, not depend. You learn to to trust your partners,
hmm
right? So like in a conversation, I mean, I may not have like a full on idea. I just have 3 words. I'll say those 3 words. I love you, and then that's all I had. And then the other person will probably add to that, and then we keep going and going and going. So with drawing, it's the same thing. Say, okay, there's the prompt spider. The first reaction is, oh, I'm gonna draw a spider, instead of a what does a spider make me think of. So what we learn in improv is that you learn to do the concepts of A to B to C.
hmm
So the spider makes me think of spider web makes me think of Spider-Man makes me think of superheroes. I'm going to do a superhero, and it's completely unrelated to spider.
So it's kind of like the mind map where you start with a one thing and then there's a couple of lines coming off of it and then you
Yes,
find one that's interesting and then you got a couple of lines coming off of that one.
absolutely. Yep,
Yeah.
That's
absolutely.
fantastic.
Yeah, so the book Amadeus basically was like that. I had that tagline that I said earlier, the pitch, and I had no idea where it was going. So my plan was, I'm gonna do one page. I didn't do. I was straight working on like the final page. Okay, so it was like I had no idea where the next page is gonna be. I have a loose concept where the script was going, but I'm like gonna react to whatever page, what the previous page is. The next page is gonna react to that. Does that make sense? Like,
hmm
so it's just in a way it kind of, and it's not perfect. I mean, there's things that I'm like, well, I would have done that different now that I look at it, or um, I can expand on that. But I was like, it's part of the process. It's part of the embracing imperfection, and that's what I'm trying to showcase with the book.
I'm gonna nail you down even further on the schedule because I'm really looking for. I get to work at 8.
Okay.
Lunch, I take a break and I'll sketch a little bit, or
Okay.
Yeah, I mean
like I want to know what
Okay.
what does a day look
practical.
like for
Okay.
you?
All right. So
Yeah,
what
yeah.
does let me see. What does a day look like in a regular day?
When
Um,
you let me preface this too with, do you separate your jobs into days or is it separated within hours within the same day? Like 8 to 12 is my architecture mindset, and then I'm an
yeah.
illustrator from noon to 4, whatever.
Yeah.
Like how
It's
does that work?
Yeah, no, so that's an interesting, this is like therapy, right? And actually, it's
Uh,
like deconstructing Victor's brain.
yeah.
So let me see, on a normal day, just a normal day or every day, let me see. I wake up, let's say at 5:30 or 6 in the morning. I will have my breakfast. That's the one meal that I'm constant with.
Mhm.
And I turn on my iPad and I'm sketching. So I'm having my coffee and I sketch, or am I doing something quick? I don't know. Or even if it's looking at a drawing.
Mhm.
Okay. Then around about 7:30, I take my son to school.
Mhm.
I take my son to school. We listen to podcasts, usually listen to you guys on the way there. then I drop him off,
Poor
and then
kid.
I know, right? And not
and
these
then
guys again.
I think linear. Like I think, okay, if I'm going to C, what am I doing from A, B, and like what am I doing in between?
Yeah.
So to your point, Lee, I guess I'm breaking my day into hours, like task. But then in the bigger picture, I'm thinking, okay, what do those tasks look like in the week? So I look at my calendar, I go into the office. In my role, it's more of like a design director role. So I will divide my day based on how many meetings I have and what I'm working on that day. So say I'm working on a hotel right now. Okay, what about the hotel I'm focusing on? So my day gets split into tasks. But I'm also keep in mind that I'm also open to interruptions. So it's not like I hide and I'm
Mhm.
drawing all the time. I'm like open studio, so somebody will come in and have a question. So it is a very flexible, nimble approach to the day. And then the one thing I become more, remember we're talking about boundaries, is like, okay, I want to be able to pick up my son at school. So I go pick up my son at school, unless I have an important meeting that day, or I'm pitching a project, or
Mhm.
there's an event that I have to go to. But usually around 3:30, I go pick him up, and then I will reconnect back in my house.
Mm.
So I continue my work. If I'm working on a design, I will continue working here, have Zoom meetings, etc. And then right around 5:30 or 6, I try to go to the gym as much as possible. And then I start my night shift, what I call. So it's like I'm gonna start drawing um, whatever I'm working on, like my comic
Mhm.
books,
Mhm.
illustration, etc. And then I go to bed. Lately, I've been forcing myself to go to bed like 9:30 or 10, so I can get 8 hours of sleep.
Yeah.
But back in the day, I don't know, go to bed.
Sleep wasn't a priority, right?
Exactly. No, it wasn't until it hits you,
Yeah.
Well, we've talked about that a bunch. That at some point, I think, and I'd like to get your take on this, but at some point in an illustrator's career, everybody has to spend, I don't know if it's 5 years or whatever the time frame is, but absolute all in,
Oh yeah,
Mhm.
100%.
no
Yes.
sleep,
Yep.
just production, and it's
Yep.
gross. It feels horrible,
Oh yeah.
and it's too much, to be honest with you. But I don't
Yeah.
know any pro who has gotten to be a pro
Yeah.
without going through that moment.
Yeah, and it doesn't stop. I mean, I'm kind of giving you the one normal day, right? Like that's like, but I have been like, we went to giant after a big pursuit. It was a big building at ASU during COVID, and I kid you not, I mean, it was nonstop. Like I remember being on a Zoom call at 10 o'clock, and my wife would bring dinner to the side,
Oh
and I would
man.
just keep working, right? And then you
Yeah.
go to bed, you roll out, and you keep working. And fast forward to my exhibition the other day, we were pulling, after midnight in his studio, putting this thing together, and I was operating on like 4 or 5 hours of sleep, which is not much for me anymore. But back in the day, that was a luxury. I'm like, oh man, I get to sleep five
Right.
hours. That's awesome,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, it is. I think that's part of it too. It's just I'm not sitting there, I don't want to say wasting time, but I'm not sitting there just throwing time away. Like every time to me is precious. Like, and this goes back, and this is the vulnerable side of me where I told you about my brother dying earlier. So he was killed when he was 17 years old or 15. And in my life, I was 7 years old. And every day after 15 became a gift to me.
Mm.
So it was like, I was afraid to make it to 15. That was the end for me, right? And I was like,
Yeah.
and then after that was like, every day it's a gift. And what can I do with it? Let me, so I like, for example, I love video games, but I don't play video games because I know the moment I get into it, I'm just gonna get sucked in for hours and hours and hours
I feel the
when I
same.
could be doing something else.
Yeah.
And then let's see, and then with comic books, it was like this. I was spending so much money buying comic books, and my wife is like, "You're spending a lot of money on that. Is a way to offset that?" I'm like, "Oh, what if I sell my drawings?" And then I
Love
sold,
it.
because I was it's research, right? I'm reading comic books, but it's research.
Yeah.
But it's a passion. I truly I go to my local comic book shop every Wednesday. I'm friends with them, and but it was more about like, okay, what if I sell my drawings and see what happens? So I went to a Comic-Con and I sold it really cheap. It was like $30, and somebody bought it, and I'm like, oh wow, somebody bought my my
Yeah.
comic, my drawing, and then that motivated me to keep going. And fast forward 10 years, it's a whole different audience, fine
Yeah.
art, and you kind of find mentors on the way. But yeah, you kind of have to put the hours in. Like you have to. I mean, even from being a student all the way to be a professional, I don't know any professional out there like you guys that would speak differently of it.
I'm going to ask another question. This is just because I was thinking about it last week. So this question comes from just how, like, we have a bunch of stuff that we're into, but illustration always seems to work its way into the other stuff for me anyways. Mm-hmm. So like last week I had this ski condo and I sold it. But before I sold it, I went up and I drew on the walls very small, and I hid these drawings in the condo.
Nice.
So my question is, and I don't know why I had to do that, but I've just felt a need to do that. And they're tiny. I mean, they're less than your fingernail size.
Oh, cool.
Little flying vampire ice cream cones is what I do.
You took pictures, right?
I have pictures, yeah.
Okay, good.
Does the buyer know about this?
No. These are just hidden, like in the closet, like in the corner, like down at the floor by the baseboard. I don't know why. I just felt the need to do that, but I did. Yeah. But it makes me wonder, do you have a time where you're designing buildings and architecture where you are like, okay, the structure's done, the important stuff is done, and you sneak a Mando reference in there or some kind of thing? Do you hide Easter eggs into your architecture?
Yeah, I have a friend, Luis, who I always speak of him because we met first year of School of Architecture, and we still till today we work together. And we used to, and when we were drafting, actual plans, we would make like a cat or make it super, super tiny that, you have to zoom into the file to actually see it. And then he got into this thing of drawing the smoking Pope, where he would have the Pope and he would be smoking. But I'm talking like tiny. Yes, we did that for sure.
I love that.
I haven't done it in a while now. I mean, now what I do, because we do renderings and whatnot. So what I do is I kind of play around with when I'm doing perspectives and I'm rendering. I'm just out loud imagining what people are talking. Every time I draw like people in the crowd, I'm like, well, these two are dating, and like, and just kind of like, this guy had a bad day, and like he's just leaving the store. It's just something like that. Like, yeah, it's part of what makes our job fun. You got to find these little gems.
No,
that's good. Well, I have to end it here because we've got a second interview that we're doing, and we got to get to that. But there's like, I don't know, there's more. We're gonna have to have you on.
I want to have you back on because
I would love to.
You're good at this.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I love to. I mean, and like for the listeners who don't know about my work, they can probably check it out at Vodlines on Instagram.
Tell us, is Vodlines? It's your Instagram account. It's your website, vodlines.com.
Yeah. Everything Vodlines, yeah. Now I should say vodlines.com, yeah.
Yeah, it's VODLINES.
Yes,
Vodlines. Yeah. And they can order your comic right now?
Right now I don't have the website. It's still a work in progress, so bear with me. I'm learning two things I'm planning on doing, or three things. One, it's learn to do the sell, what do you call that? The
online shop.
Yeah, the online shop. Get into Substack, then that's still I haven't forget about like.
Hey, I'm with you. I'm trying to do it too, but
call me when you're ready. I'll walk you through it all.
I know. So that is, I have it all set up, ready to go. I just haven't had the time to going back to like time management, right? And then the third one was putting together a pitch for my comic book. So for publishers out there, which is a whole different conversation. I mean, we can talk about this for another 30
Yeah.
minutes in terms of self-publishing versus publishing. You
Yeah.
guys talk about it all the time. You got courses on this.
All right, everybody. That was Victor Irizarry. Again, his website is vodlines.com, or find him on Instagram at vodlines. It's VODLINES. And like he said, he doesn't have a shop up or running, but there's other ways you can support. And these are ways in which you engage with him online. You follow him, you comment on his stuff. I think he'd really appreciate that. Anything you want to say before I take us out, Lee?
No, just thank him for showing up. That was a great conversation. I think people are going to get a lot out of that.
I agree. All right. 3-Point Perspective is brought to you by SVSLEARN, where you can become a great illustrator. And our podcast is produced by Daniel Tu. We just want to give a shout out to him and to the rest of the team here. Team manager, Preston Smith. Keeper of the community, Austin Shirtlift. Show Notes Wrangler, Lily Howell. Chief Operations Officer, Lisa Fott. Our in-house illustrator, Lee White, and our customer friend, Annalise Black. Now, go draw something. Did you see that comment from the last video? It's like Lee without his hat. What'd they say?
Looks naked. Yeah, I, mean,
Yeah,
I typically wear a hat, but that was one time I decided not to.
One time
Yeah,
you don't wear.
if you don't have the hat and I see you in the street, I would not recognize you.
No, it's yeah. I mean, that's when we went to SCBWI. That's how everybody recognized me, as I wore the Totoro hat.
Yeah,
And they're like, "There he is."
Yeah, it's your signature look. It's like Gilligan with his sailor hat and the red shirt. You know?
I didn't realize I was branding when I bought that hat. But,
oh, you know it.
That's what these are. I'm gonna have to get a. These are just for reading, but they work when I'm, doing
here.
these, so I keep them on. But I don't wear them any other time when I'm not at the computer. So I feel like I got to get a pair that's just non-prescription, like to just wear around at like conventions or whatever.
Yeah,
that's true.
You know what? I mean, I noticed when I'm driving now, I need it because if I need the map, I don't see the phone. So I'm like, I'm driving like this the entire time, like an old man.
That's what scares me. Is sometimes I'll realize, because I do the same thing, and I'm squinting at my phone, I'm changing the distances. Sometimes I realize when I'm doing that that I haven't looked up in what seems like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I'm still on the road somehow, and I'm like, it always creeps me out.
That is scary. Wait, so Lee, you just showed that thing. What was that thing? Because I'm.
Oh, this thing?
Okay.
So what happened? I deal with tennis elbow every now and again.
Okay.
And what happens is for us, this is my take on it, is that you're always lifting your hand like that, which works those muscles there.
We have the same exact thing.
Yeah. And so this because we're always gripping and lifting like that, it strains these muscles. But then the flexor muscles, the opposite muscles, you never train going that way. So it balances out.
Yep.
Sort of the.
So I'm looking for that because I have the exact same thing. I was telling Jake after listening to your last episode, I'm like, I need to, this should be more of a wellness topic because I had the same issue. I had whatever it's called, golfer's elbow on this side.
Tennis elbow is on the outside.
Yeah, and then tennis elbow on this side, and I don't play any of the sports.
No, that's what I got too. So a couple Jake and Sam were making fun of me a little bit, but I got this vertical iguana style mouse. Cool. So I'm not like this and lifting my wrist anymore. My hand is down. Yeah. Almost like a handshake position. Yeah. And that
I should get one of those.
Dude, it is the most comfortable mouse I've ever had, and it's got one button, 2 buttons on this side, and then a bunch of buttons on this side too. So it's amazing. I mean,
you have the coolest gadgets. I mean, I gotta say.
And then this is the mouse pad that goes with it, so it's angled down. Okay. So your wrist sits here, and then angles your hand down, and then you're gripping like that. Yeah, been. I mean, I can feel it helping.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. I'll send you the link. I mean, it really just small little changes like that in your day. And then I keep 3 of these with different strengths by my desk. And I just while I'm hanging out, I'll just.
Yeah. My physical therapist Jake, you were asking me about the workouts. Literally that was one of them. That's with a rubber band. You just go in and do that.
Yeah. The problem with the rubber band is it slides down. Like
Or
this
breaks.
one is like,
Yeah.
this is tier 2, and I can barely open my hand. The
pretty
next
cool.
one up, I can't even. I can't
Okay.
move it.
I'm gonna look into that. This quickly turned into old people's.
Oh yeah, and then my
And then
plantar
my side-
fasciitis.
Hi, come on in.
Say hi really fast. It's funny that you guys
Hey!
complained about being old. If you get on to like your denture cream, I'm out.
No,
But Jake has been complaining about his elbow hurts.
It hurts.
Yeah.
It hurts so much. I can't carry that. My elbow hurts.
See?
yeah. I guess my thing was a tricep tendonitis. They called it. It was like the actual muscle back here. It was like somehow messed up.
And once you're old like us, once
Yeah.
it gets messed up, that's the problem. You can't. It's almost impossible to fix, right?
Do you remember being 30 and thinking, that'll never happen?
Dude, when I was 30 or 30 and under doing extreme sports, I would get concussions on a daily basis, and
Yeah.
I would break bones all
That
the
That
time.
explains so much.
Yeah, I know, right? Little CTE never hurt nobody.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
That makes so much sense now. That explains your style, that right there, your art style.
Yes, it's
Will
my
you shut the
style
door
is just
in case they
damaged.
drill?
Damaged human. That's what I.
Very cool.
Dude, that's hilarious. If this makes it to the after show chat, this will be good for anybody who's 30 years old or under 30 to realize
Absolutely.
what's coming for you,
Yeah.
whether you like it or not.
Be ready, young whippersnappers out there.
Yeah.